Do you ever feel like your life is just mediocre? You're not really achieving much, especially in comparison to the world around you? Maybe then this video is a bit of a story for you to inspire you and also take you on to this journey of my personal experience and development from what I would say a mediocre life to the 2024 and beyond that I actually want to live. Now, to do this, I want to talk about what I mean when I say that I've been leading a bit of a mediocre life, the aspirations that were connected to that and the goals that I had along the way, and where I stand right now as a 33-year-old going on to 34, wanting to change from here on out and not continue down the same path that I've been on, so that in a couple of years from now, I can look back and say, that's the moment when I changed and I actually took responsibility. So if that's something for you, let's dive in. Chapter 1. I'm now 33 years old, and some might say I've lived a pretty interesting life in the last 10 years or so. Living in different countries, getting to know a ton of different people, building projects, trying to build the business, and everything that comes with that. But to me personally, it all feels like it was just a river of normalcy. Not something outrageously interesting or exciting. It didn't feel like I was actually achieving the big audacious goals that I set for myself or for my businesses. Sure, I've been in different countries, I've met interesting people, and I tried a lot. But within all of that, I also didn't have many of the other experiences even more, in quote-unquote, normal people would have had when working a regular job. My last 10 years feel a little bit like a blur. No real time for vacation. Any money earned was directly reinvested into the bare minimum for life, and then business equipment, as well as just trying to make the business work. And within time, the same thing was true. I didn't really allow myself to have leisure time or focus on more adventurous time with friends because I always thought I have to get to work. The problem though is that more often than not, I then also didn't necessarily do the effective work, often leading down a path of procrastination or, let's call it, distraction. It was a poisonous cocktail of trying, building the business, investing, stopping myself right in my own tracks, and then not allowing myself to live the life around it because I haven't earned it. One big realization around this was that I really have a hard time enjoying leisure time that also costs, even though just a little bit money. Going for a snorkeling trip, maybe going for a dive, maybe going snowboarding. Now, none of these are essential to have a good life or live a successful life, but they were an indicator for me that apparently I am struggling to have any type of leisure activities in my life that I actually quite enjoyed in the last 10 years or so. Like I said, everything went back into the business and I wasn't allowing myself to enjoy the fruits of that because I haven't made it to the degree that I wanted for myself. But I'm also painfully aware of my own procrastination and the level of how much I stop myself from achieving the actual goals by keeping myself in the comfort zone. Chapter 2. Comparison, the thief of joy. How exactly that feeling of comparison comes to be is a bit of a wild guess for probably anyone out there. However, I think it's pretty clear that one major component to that is what we see on the daily on social media. Me personally, I've experienced that. I oftentimes get sucked into YouTube, Instagram, and everything in between, and obviously there I see everyone that is hyper successful and none of the real struggles, because usually people don't really show them, or we then just ignore that and look at the more successful people because it is inspiring or aspirational. Now when I went on social media the last years, I always saw the millionaires, some of them dropshipping, social media agencies, some building businesses. And then you also see the private jets, the restaurants, the hotels, the vacations, the amazing beaches, and everything in between. When you go on Twitter, you see tons of advice from people that apparently made it and they have all the knowledge to share. However, it's also incredibly hard to implement all of those things. Some actually call it the productivity porn or the active procrastination or supposedly helpful procrastination, because you think that you're actually moving forward by learning about all of these things. You then see people that were baseball stars in college moving to a hedge fund and a leading position in a firm to then lead into private equity and being a multimillionaire with a couple of businesses in the personal portfolio by just 32. And all of a sudden I thought, I'm 33. I was not a baseball star. I was not in any firm where I had a big position. And arguably, I'm not in private equity and or have super successful businesses. But all of that was just about the successes that you see on these social media platforms. I now also discovered something more nefarious in myself and in my personal experience of how I look at the last 10 years of my life. And that was that I actually also noticed people that had really hard things happen to them in their life between 20 and maybe 30, 34, and they were drug addicted, they had a divorce, they had a job that they really hated, but they still went to. And I started noticing that I was looking at these people and thought to myself, at least they had something that they experienced. Let's say someone that had an alcohol addiction, at least they were out to party and they enjoyed that period of life, or they felt something in that period of life. Whereas for me, it felt more and more like a constant slug of sitting in front of the computer, trying to learn, trying to make something, trying to put pieces together, set myself into the work mode. All of this is much more of a punishing experience, or felt like that. Whereas if you have these other experiences, at least there's something happening. You have a job that you hate, but you have the vacation that at least gives you a little glimpse into that openness of the world and an experience that you then can carry with you in your life. To me, it more and more felt like that wasn't even the case. And so looking back at that period of my life with this lens and accepting that I see it the way that I currently described, even though I might be able to also look at it from different angles and so on, if I accept and see the reality that I currently explore as in it wasn't the life that I wanted to live, I wanted it to be different and I want the future to be different, from this point forward, I am now on the path to recalibrate and somewhat look for the new path, chapter 3, the search for meaning. So I feel an odd envy for those that had hard life periods and a jealousy for those that had the perfect life in the past already. But in all of this, I also discovered that there's a meaning to my own life. And there's a story in that. And for me, that is of persistence, slow growth, and gradual improvement. And this was actually kind of brought to my attention even a couple of years ago when I was still on the YouTube journey as a very small YouTuber with like 300 subscribers maybe, but already 150 or so videos published on the platform, where I met someone in Berlin for a coffee, and this person was also on the journey to becoming a creator, writing blog posts and wanting to create videos, asking me, why are you still doing it? Like 150 videos, 300 subscribers, even at the time, that wasn't really a great numbers comparison. However, I had to say at that time, I enjoy making the videos and I want to be on this platform and I want to share the things that I am sharing. And so in some way, I actually carry that persistence with me to this day, that even though certain things haven't worked out at this point, I might have to just continue down that path and do so the same way some of the inventors or company founders that you've all probably heard about, like the Dysons and the Fords and so on and so forth, that had multiple hundreds of prototypes before they actually found the working thing. And so to kind of compare in this realm, I feel this persistence actually has given me an opportunity to grow through the last 10 years and stick with this path and not give up. And even just a couple of days ago, I saw a video by Harris Heller talking about his journey and how these tiny moments where he persisted just a little bit longer led down the path where right after or within weeks of giving up and actually having jobs lined up so that he could go back into a corporate setting, his channels kind of exploded or had a viral hit or something like that. So you never really know when that is going to happen. But these things are also never going to happen if we ourselves don't take responsibility and kind of make them happen, or at least be present for these things to be able to happen for us. Now, maybe some of these parts are resonating with you and you kind of feel like you're leaving yourself, your family, your partner, your friends along the sidelines and you're not achieving your full potential. Maybe you feel like your life has been mediocre the last couple of years. Maybe you feel like you're just in your comfort zone and you have life on easy mode because you don't want to challenge yourself. Maybe you feel like there's others passing you by, maybe even undeservedly so, because you are considering yourself to be more intelligent or better suited for a certain position. Now, the worst part about all of this is probably envisioning the next 10 years and then looking back and thinking, if only I had made a change in 2024. And I don't want that regret. I want to look back at 2024 as the changing point. Chapter 4, a plan for 2024. So the rest of this year, 2024, I want to make a challenge for myself. I want to challenge myself to step out of my comfort zone, grow the business in ways that have never been done before, step into a shameless life to actually be more present, leave procrastination on the sidelines, and document it here on the YouTube channel. I am setting the stage for a more active, transformative, growth-oriented life because I've been coasting for far too long, stopping myself in the dead-end tracks and holding myself back to being who I truly want to be. This is the changing point. This is where I want to take control back. Obviously, I don't really know how all of this is going to turn out. And specifically making a video like this with statements like the ones made before about how I want this year to be transformative, focused, and growth-oriented, it's actually quite scary because with a track record of not really being able to trust my own execution on the goals I set for myself, it's really tough. Will I actually document my journey? Will I actually stick focused to the goals that I set for myself or the routines that I want to be building? I don't know. But that is also part of this journey and one of the reasons why I am showing you this work, because all of those questioning thoughts can roam forever in my mind until it changes. And I actually take responsibility and control back into my own hands to make this year the year that I want it to be. I want to make one thing abundantly clear. I have not found the magic bullet and I don't know how any of this will turn out, where it will lead, and what life lies ahead. I will probably make mistakes, fail in some things, some of the progress will be incredibly slow, and some of the new habits or routines or tactics will have to be implemented extremely carefully and probably also with a lot of patience for myself. But that is to say that I am dedicated to this and I want to take this responsibility and step forward into this new reality for myself. Conclusion. Writing the outline of this video, filming it, and then also publishing, to be honest, has been for myself as much as it has been for you. Maybe even a little bit more for myself, because it is an important step in my personal journey to think these things through and just simply also put something out there on this platform. But I also hope that it is inspiring and potentially giving you a bit of an insight into the life of another 33-year-old that feels like life was a bit mediocre over the last decade or so. And so that we don't have that same problem in our 40s, maybe this can be the starting point for you as well to step out of your comfort zone, to take life into your own hands and take responsibility more and more. Now, in my next video, I'm going to cover how I'm planning to move forward with this specific YouTube channel in terms of topics covered, videos created, and community built. So I hope you stick around for that. And in the meantime, let's build a life full of responsibility, purpose, and fulfillment. And I hope you come with me on that journey.